The Panthers are quietly one of the best teams in the National Hockey League right now. They deserve more respect, and we're going to give it to them. Armando Velez joins us to talk about that team's recent success.
You are Locked On NHL, your daily podcast on the National Hockey League. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right now it's my pleasure to welcome back to the show the host of Locked On Florida Panthers, Armando Velez. Armando, great to have you back.
It's great to be back, Gil. Last time I was on the show, I was talking about a recent losing streak that the Panthers were going on, but great to be back here under better circumstances with this hockey team in a small town called Sunrise, Florida.
Yeah, and this team now in first place in the Atlantic Division. And how long has it been since they lost? I mean, it's been a while.
Their last loss came in their last game before the COVID shutdown against the Los Angeles Kings, where they had 7 players on the COVID list, had to dress 16 skaters, and then they got shut down after that. But ever since coming back, they've had a mostly healthy lineup. And that's one thing that the Florida Panthers have been very fortunate with. They've had some COVID luck. A lot of their players came back, and only like 3 or 4 players are now on the COVID list. So they're close to returning. The broadcast yesterday said that Sam Reinhart should be practicing this week, so he's going to come back. And that's the thing. Some of their top 6 players have been out. Sam Reinhart's on the COVID list. Sam Bennett got suspended. He just served his final game of his 3-game suspension for a hit on Cedric Paquette on New Year's Day against the Montreal Canadiens. So he just finished his most recent suspension for a repeat offender. But also the fact that the Florida Panthers, they've been mediocre on the road for most of this season. They entering this road trip, going into Dallas and then going into Carolina, they were 4-4-4. That was one thing that was talked about in Florida Panther circles, and they got 3 out of 4 in this most recent road trip. So, and the Carolina game, a big overtime winner by Anthony Duclair, who's found a home in South Florida. Great story for Anthony Duclair. And now they're over 500 on the road. Now they're leading the division in points percentage, and they have games in hand on the Tampa Bay Lightning as well. And they're still behind in points percentage against the Carolina Hurricanes. But this Florida Panthers team, they've won the season series against Carolina, the Washington Capitals, and the Tampa Bay Lightning. And they still have one more matchup against Tampa Bay and one more matchup against the Carolina Hurricanes. And they already won the season series. So this is a great stepping stone for this Florida Panthers team to possibly take that next step. They're going to make the playoffs, but what their quest is to get out, not be in that 2-3 in the division, because the 2-3 in the Atlantic are going to be either Toronto or one of the Florida teams, more than likely. And I mean, maybe Toronto can get on a run too. The Florida Panthers haven't faced them yet, but the priority for the Florida Panthers is just to get that win the division for this season. And right now they're very well on track.
You mentioned Anthony Duclair, and he's had his issues at some of his other stops across the league. What is it about this team that has made it such a good fit for him, and what is he doing better and differently?
He's finishing on a lot of his breakaways as well, and he's using that speed to create opportunities for other people. And the best thing of it all right now is that he has a teammate who sets him up beautifully in Jonathan Huberdeau. And Jonathan Huberdeau, right now he's 4th in the NHL in points, behind the 2 superstars in Edmonton and Alex Ovechkin. So right now he's 4th in the NHL. And I got to think that with the Edmonton Oilers, they've been on a little bit of a downward trajectory lately. If they don't make the playoffs, that helps Jonathan Huberdeau's case to get some more Hart Trophy votes, because there was a point in time where Alexander Barkov was out, and even Anthony Duclair was out too for multiple weeks, but Anthony Duclair was just never placed on IR. There was just a few setbacks here and there from his recovery. But Jonathan Huberdeau, without Barkov, without Anthony Duclair a lot of the time this season, Jonathan Huberdeau has shown up this season. He has 45 points in 34 games for the Florida Panthers, and it's just incredible what he's doing. And Anthony Duclair and Barkov, who are two players who are leading the team in goals still, there was a stretch of time where they weren't even playing, and that's when the Florida Panthers started going on a little bit of a losing streak. And then you insert those guys back. The COVID shutdown for the Florida Panthers got those people who were not on the COVID list healthier, and the moment that they got back, the Florida Panthers played hockey again. Those players were all activated all at the same time. So the shutdown was good for COVID reasons and non-COVID reasons for the Florida Panthers.
One thing that hasn't been as consistent, Florida right now, first in the league in goals scored, 20th in the league on the power play. What has to improve on the power play? Why are they struggling? You would think with all that offensive talent, the power play would be near the top of the league.
Mm-hmm. Season averages for the Florida Panthers would have them at near the low teens right now, but they didn't score a power play goal on Saturday against the Carolina Hurricanes, but before that, there was a stretch of games where they had 5 power play goals in 4 games. So that was an improved area, and a lot of that had to do with the unit that they had on and the players that came back from injury. And it's not fixed by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a lot better than what it was when Barkov was out as well. And they were trying to figure out who was going to be that new quarterback on the power play as well, because I also consider this, with Coach Q resigning, Andrew Brunette was the guy running the power play for the Florida Panthers. Now he's wearing multiple hats on this team. So that might be a little bit of a mix-up of why the power play has been a little not so encouraging for this Florida Panthers team. That might factor in a little bit, but not completely. But also that. But the Florida Panthers' recent stretch of power plays gives me a little bit of encouragement for this team going forward. And I also want to mention the penalty kill as well for this Florida Panthers team. Jonathan Huberdeau, before this season, he didn't really play much on the penalty kill, and now he's playing more often on the kill. And the top unit for forwards in that department is a rookie in Anton Lundell, 20 years old, and he has been he roomed with Barkov before the season started. Anton Lundell eventually found his own place, but he was on that top unit. He's leading the team in defensive zone starts too as a rookie, and that is when you need a face-off win at the end of the game, you're trusting a rookie to put you in that situation to defend well. And he has that coming from his experience in HIFK and Liga that has really prepared him for the NHL. He's not going to win the Calder Trophy this year because he got off to a little bit of a slowish start, but the way that he's developed, he knows that he's not where he wants to be, but he talked about how he wants to raise his floor consistently, and his floor is very high.
All right, give me one player, unsung, who, casual hockey fans or fans who don't follow your team every day, but he's been contributing a lot to the success of this team behind the scenes.
I'm going to say Patrick Hornquist. That is, we know that he's not the player that he used to be from his time in Pittsburgh, but the leadership that Patrick Hornquist brings on this Florida Panthers roster, and lately before he was placed on the COVID list on Saturday, he was on a stretch where he had 4 points in 4 games. That fourth line, an honorary mention of that fourth line for the Florida Panthers, Eetu Luostarinen, Ryan Lomberg, and Patrick Hornquist. Their recent homestand, their 4-game homestand, they had 4 goals, 5 assists, and a +7 rating, all in that stretch. And Patrick Hornquist had a lot to do with that. And he's known to be placed in his office, like right on the doorstep of deflecting pucks in. That's what he's known for. And usually in late game situations when the Florida Panthers are down and they call a timeout, you see Patrick Hornquist there in late game situations because of the experience factor there, and he's been just an incredible leader, mentoring two young players in Ryan Lomberg, who scored against his former team, the Calgary Flames, just a few nights ago, and Eetu Luostarinen, a guy who has experience playing in the AHL Charlotte when they were under the Carolina Hurricanes affiliation, and they won the Calder Championship. So now we're starting to see what Patrick Hornquist is, his mentorship, what it's starting to mean for these young players as they're trying to keep a consistent spot in this lineup, and they have.
All right, Armando, why don't you tell our listeners and our viewers where they could find the podcast and where they could find you on social media?
They can follow me on Twitter at MondoMan12. They can follow the show account at LO_FLA Panthers. And with the Florida Panthers now on their recent stretch of 6 games in a row after this break and the football season ending for the South Florida team here, it's time to pay attention. And I hope that Saturday night's win for the Florida Panthers really put the league on notice about this team.
It definitely should. Armando Velez, always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Gil.